Hi there, my name is Ryk van Niekerk and welcome to the How to Make Money with podcast, a show where we explore real, practical and innovative ways to boost your income. Whether you're after some extra cash or aiming for financial freedom, opportunities are everywhere. You just need to know where to look. Today we will focus on how to make money with flipping or selling second-hand fashion online. Yes, believe it or not, there is a platform that allows people to upload clothing items and to sell it to third parties. The platform is Yaga, and it has more than 1 million users and who have sold more than 3.4 million items. On the line is Aune Aunapu. She's the founder and CEO of Yaga. She's speaking to us all the way from Estonia. Aune, thank you so much for your time today. I've spent a fair amount of time on the website today. And there are a lot of products listed, hundreds, thousands, possibly even more. But just give us a bit of background about Yaga. When did you start the business and what did you aim to achieve?
Hi. Great to be here and share the story of Yaga. I actually started Yaga quite some years ago. It was like 7 years ago already. And we started Yaga in Estonia, which is my home country. I'm from Estonia. I started Yaga because I was frustrated how inconvenient and full of scam was Facebook Marketplace. I believe all the listeners know how Facebook Marketplace works. It's not a pleasant experience usually, but I was trying to sell my kid's stroller. There was no payment, no delivery, a lot of messages, and I couldn't stop but wonder, why is person-to-person buying and selling online so inconvenient? And I made it my mission to develop a better platform for this experience to be better. We first launched in Estonia as a pilot, and then our second international market was South Africa in late 2019, right before COVID, which was perfect timing because everybody were pushed online. And now, South Africa is our biggest market, and we are market leaders there. And you shared some of the numbers, but what I would like to emphasize is that over 700 million rand worth of items have been sold on Yaga South Africa only, and this has gone paid out directly to the users. So you can really make money on Yaga.
We're going to get to that 700 million in a minute, but how on earth did you go from Estonia to South Africa?
Well, I think it takes more than 20 minutes to give you the full story, to be honest. But there are multiple reasons. One of them is competitive landscape in Europe. There are very prominent big players in the second-hand space who have proved that the business model works. But we saw African markets as markets where Yaga could be the first mover and build and become the player in that space. On a personal note, I was in a wedding in South Africa at that time. Prior we launched, we were looking for a market to launch. And to be honest, I think for me, it was the moment when stars aligned. We were like, it's such a beautiful country. People are on the market. Payment is here, online payment, delivery is working. So why not launch in South Africa as an experiment? And it was the right bet.
So how does it work? How can somebody listening to this podcast, desperate for some extra cash in their pockets, use the Yaga platform to make money?
It's super easy. First, you have to get the Yaga app, but then you have to select the items you no longer want or need, make pictures of them, upload them to Yaga, add description, add price, and basically you're ready to sell. And then you wait for the buyers. And if you want to boost your sales, then you can share your Yaga shop link in your social media, in TikTok, in Instagram. This is what we see our most successful sellers do. They bring people to their Yaga stores to boost and accelerate the traffic to the shop. So it's super easy. It doesn't cost anything. Selling is for free. So you can try it out, I think, in 5 minutes, basically. And you can try it out online at the moment if you want.
And then a third party comes and buys the product. How do you ensure that the buyer gets the product and the seller gets the money?
That's a good question, but Yaga acts as a mediator between the buyer and the seller. So when buyer has made the payment on Yaga, then money is deposited on Yaga's account. Then we notify the seller that you can now ship the item to this address, whatever seller is providing. And then our delivery partners send the item to the buyer. Buyer confirms receiving the item, and only then we release the funds to the seller. So we are the mediator of the payment, and that's how we provide safety.
That's how you remove the ability for some people to scam others. You keep the money until the product is in the hands it should be, and then release the money.
Yes.
How do you make money? Because you don't charge any sales commission.
We don't take any sales commission from the seller side, but we do take the buyer protection fee. The buyer protection fee is 5% on each transaction plus 14.90 fixed fee. And this is for the platform, for the safety we provide, for the escrow model, etc., etc. So the fee is on the buyer side.
So the buyer would pay, say, 100 Rand and then 5% commission, you said?
Yes.
And then 14 Rand 90.
Yes, exactly.
So around 20% on a 100 Rand transaction. And obviously, the more you spend, the higher that will be. But that doesn't seem, excessive, especially if there are higher amounts. But I see on the website there are many products that are very, very cheap. I see one at $10, one at 20 Rand. How does that work? Is it worthwhile to sell products that cheap?
Well, I think that would we have to ask from the sellers who sell those items. But people sell items in very different price ranges, from the super cheap items to the luxury items. But the average item value in Yaga is around 400 Rand. So that's the majority. I don't have the stats available at the moment, but I would assume that those hyper cheap items, they're actually not getting sold because the fee will be unproportionately high. You're correct on that. So it's more of a, let's say, medium-priced items.
Yeah, maybe it's more than one item you would buy from a seller. But give us a sense of who your most successful members are, because they open their own shop on Yaga, and I would imagine the potential is only limited by your imagination.
Well, basically, yes. We don't have a very specific target persona. Our members vary from age 18 to age 50. Basically, the biggest user group is around 25 to 35. So it can be a stay-at-home mom, it can be a professional influencer, etc. So the personas are very different. But it really depends how committed is this seller to selling on Yaga. Our sellers, this is how we call them, they make living on Yaga. And the most successful sellers on Yaga, they earn over 30,000 Rand monthly. And they really make Yaga for their living. And then there are other people who just sell randomly a pair of shoes, pair of sneakers, some skate stuff, etc. So they earn less. So it really depends how much you invest your time into selling on Yaga and what you make of it. But the persona-wise, it's really, 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 really wild. And literally how we think about it is basically everyone who wears clothes and has access to internet and has a smartphone can start selling on buying on Yaga.
Why such a big focus on clothing? Because I think in many ways you could do the same on any classifieds website, although there are some safety concerns. You don't know who you're dealing with. You don't know if you're going to get your product. So why clothing specifically and not other products?
Well, I think it comes down to the mission of Yaga, or the connection with the sustainability. My background is from sustainability. Actually, I was working as an environmental consultant for a decade before I started Yaga. And fashion industry is one of the most polluting industries in the world. So in my mind, if people buy more secondhand fashion from each other, it actually benefits the sustainability and then the environment. So for me, it's all about purpose. And business-wise, I would say that fashion category is very accessible. Everybody has excess fashion, especially when we talk about women. So it's very easy to start selling. But what we see from our user behavior is that you come to Yaga to sell a dress, but you actually end up selling your mobile phone, maybe your couch, maybe your boyfriend's jeans. So basically you get hooked with the experience, and from each sale, you get the positive experience. So it actually works. I can make money here. So I'll see what else I can sell. I can speak from my own experience. It's really it hooks you when you get a sale.
What is the most expensive item you've ever sold on the platform?
Well, I should have asked this before from my team, but I believe it's some luxury brand handbag, probably costing a lot.
They can be quite expensive. But, where do your members get, or what do you call them? Members?
Users. community.
The Yaga community, where do they get the stock to sell, especially if you want to make a living? Because most people only have a number of clothing items. So where do they get it?
Well, they get it from different places. If it's not their own closet, they get it from clothing markets, from similar secondhand stores that are offline. They buy it there. They wash it, make beautiful pictures, make the item they bought look beautiful, basically, and then upload it to Yaga. So I would say all the other platforms and stores that are available on the market.
You've referred earlier to the most successful members of your community doing a lot of marketing on social media platforms, Instagram, TikTok, I would imagine Facebook too. What are the most innovative ways of marketing you have seen from members of your community?
Well, I think it goes hand in hand with the trends we see in social media. It's like this TikTok. I'm maybe too old already for TikTok myself, but like those TikTok trends showing the items you have on sale, making online, like real time, like streams. This is the word I probably am looking for, like real time streams about the items they're selling. But usually it's Instagram story or an Instagram post with a reference to the Yaga link. Also, our buyers advertise on Yaga to share their findings, like sharing, this is the Nike sneakers I got with a great price, go to Yaga and buy yours, etc. So it's also not only the sellers, but also buyers go to share their experience on Yaga. It benefits us a lot. That's great because the community is very strong in South Africa, and that's nice.
How are the products delivered?
The products are delivered using the most known delivery companies. Paxi, Pudo, Aramax. We will be adding Pargo anytime soon, etc. So basically, we have aimed to add all major delivery partners to Yaga platform. So then buyer and seller can choose the partner with the most convenient service or the closest pickup point to them. But the point is to get all the partners to Yaga platform.
And some of those platforms are actually quite affordable, especially if you sell low-value items. I think some of them national shipments can be 60, 70 rand, which makes sense. Can you sell internationally?
No, you cannot sell internationally. It's currently within South Africa only. But internationally, probably the blocker would be the delivery price, because the second-hand item average value is low, but the international delivery price is going to be higher. So it wouldn't make sense. So what we see from our business is that the second-hand trade is first and foremost happening on a local market, often even in the same city. So it's a highly local business, and I think it makes a lot of sense.
You've said you facilitated sales of more than 700 million rand. Is that since 2020?
This is since 2020, yes. It's like all time.
And is it growing? What is the trend?
The trend is that secondhand is becoming more and more popular, and we are growing close to 100% annually still. So we grow. The trend is very promising for us as a business. Secondhand is becoming more and more popular. And to be honest, I'm not surprised because it benefits the sellers. They earn money. It benefits the buyers. They save money. And also it benefits the environment.
What happens if a buyer is not happy with a product? Say it's not in the condition it was advertised at.
When it's not in the condition, or if it's not how it was described or promised, let's say that you order M size and you get an XL size, it's not what you wanted, then you can return the item. But if it's just that I don't like it, then we advise you to just resell it on the platform, and you cannot send it back unless you agree this with the seller and they take it back.
I want to come back to the 700 million in sales, and you say it doubles every year, which is a phenomenal growth rate. That is significant. How many active sellers of products do you have on the platform generating this revenue?
I don't have the seller's number here, but we have 2.5 million items currently on Yaga, what you can buy. And every day, around 10,000 new items are uploaded. So it's significant additional stock is added to the platform every day. So the activity is really high.
And how many transactions do you facilitate on an average day?
On an average monthly, it's about 80,000 transactions.
That is pretty significant. I've got a teenage daughter who loves Timo and Shein. I've now stopped. She cannot buy from them because I want her to buy local. And I'm going to introduce you to this platform most definitely. And I like the fact that you limited to the South African market. Is this a business model also growing in other countries?
Well, we are actually currently fundraising to expand into more markets. Like I said, Estonia is the pilot. We're also super successful here. It's our home market, but Estonia is only 1 million people. So you can imagine the glass ceiling. Then South Africa, but we also launched in Kenya a few months ago in Nairobi, and we are raising funds to open more markets in the region, looking at MENA region, etc., and rest of Africa. So we do have expansion plans because I believe in this model. I believe that sustainability will win and the second hand will win, and I will push this thinking forward.
So Yaga is a platform where you can open an account in seconds. You can post pictures of products you want to sell on there within minutes. And I think shortly afterwards, you can have somebody in South Africa using the platform to buy that product. And when it's delivered, you get paid. And if you have a significant number of products which have appeal, you can actually make a living on this platform. And I think it's a great model, and I think congratulations for conceptualizing it.
Thank you so much.
I think you've solved the problem classifieds had, where there is no facilitation between the buyer and the seller, and a lot can go wrong between the two.
Yes, I think that you have nailed it, that every country have their own, I call them like old coast classifieds, but they are very often only like message based. You cannot make a real transaction. But for this trust gap to be solved, the platform has to facilitate the payment. And this is why we are there, and we want to eliminate scam, and we have a lot of plans. So welcome to the platform.
I will get my daughter to register. I think she will have a good time. Aune, thank you so much for your time today and for sharing your insights and your lovely platform and offering South Africans a way to make some extra money. You know, this is a good side hustle, and hopefully this model will grow and more people can actually make a living from it. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
We'll have to leave it there. Aune, thank you so much for your time today. That was Aune Aunapu, the founder and CEO of Jaeger. That's it for this episode of the How to Make Money with podcast. I hope you found it useful and maybe even a little inspiring. If you've enjoyed it, please like, follow or subscribe, depending on your platform, and share it with someone who's also looking for smart ways to earn more. Thanks for listening, and catch you next time as we explore more practical ways to make money.